boys and girls. Do you feel like going on an adventure today? I do. Let's see what's in our story bag, and that will give us some clues about where we're going to go. Alligator Baby. Well, I know that that's a book about the zoo. Alligator Baby by Robert Munsch, illustrated by Michael Marchenko. One night, Kristen's mother woke up and yelled, a baby, I'm having a baby. Kristen's father jumped up, zoomed around the room, got dressed, and grabbed Kristen's mother by the hand. They drove downstairs. They ran downstairs to the car and drove off really fast. Vroom! Unfortunately, they got lost. They didn't go to the hospital, they went to the zoo. But it was okay. Kristen's mother had a lovely baby, and they drove home and knocked on their front door. Blam, 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 blam. Kristen opened the door, and there was her mother holding something all wrapped up. "Kristen," she said, "would you like to see your new baby brother?" "Oh, yes," said Kristen. So Kristen lifted up the bottom of the blanket. She saw a long green tail and said, "That is not a people tail." Kristen lifted up the middle of the blanket, saw a green claw, and said, "That's not a people claw." Kristen lifted up the top of the blanket, saw a long green face with lots of teeth, and said, "That is not a people face. That is not my baby brother." "Now, Kristen," said her mother, "don't be jealous." Just then, the baby reached up and bit Kristen's mother on the nose. She yelled, "Ah!" Then the baby reached up and bit her father on the nose. He yelled, "Ah!" "That is not a people baby," said Kristen. "That's an alligator baby." "Goodness," said her mother, "we've got the wrong baby." So Kristen put the alligator baby into the fish tank, and her mother and father drove back to the zoo. They came back in an hour and knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. Kristen opened the door, and her mother said, "Would you like to see your new baby brother?" "Oh, yes," said Kristen. Kristen lifted up the bottom of the blanket, and she saw a fishy tail and said, "That's not a people tail." Kristen lifted up the middle of the blanket, saw a flipper, and said, "That's not a people flipper." Kristen lifted up the top of the blanket, saw a face with whiskers, and said, "That's not a people face. That is not my baby brother." "Now, Kristen," said her mother, "don't be jealous." Just then, the baby reached up with its flipper and flapped her father's face. Whap, 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 whap. He yelled, "Ah, it's a seal baby. We've got the wrong baby." So Kristen put the seal baby in the bathtub, and her mother and father drove back to the zoo. They came back in an hour and knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. They said, "Kristen, would you like to see your new baby brother?" "Oh, yes," said Kristen. She lifted up the bottom of the blanket and saw a very hairy leg. That is not a people leg. She lifted up the middle of the blanket and saw a very hairy arm, and she said, "That is not a people arm." She lifted up the top of the blanket, saw a very hairy face, and said, "That's not a people face. That is not my brother." "Now, Kristen," said her mother, "don't be jealous." The baby reached up with its feet and grabbed her mother's ear and her father's ear, and they both yelled, "Ah, it's a gorilla baby. We got the wrong baby." "Let me do it," said Kristen. So her mother and father put the gorilla baby on the chandelier in the living room, and Kristen went off to the zoo on her bicycle. First, Kristen looked in the snake cage. No people babies. Then Kristen looked in the wombat cage. No people babies. Then Kristen looked in the elephant cage. No people babies. Then she stopped and listened. From far away she heard, "Wah, wah, wah." "That's more like it," said Kristen. She followed the sound. It was coming from the gorilla cage. Kristen looked at the mommy gorilla and said, "Give me my baby brother." The gorilla jumped away and would not give the baby back at all. Then the people baby reached up and bit the gorilla on the nose, and the gorilla yelled, "Ah!" and handed the baby to Kristen. Kristen jumped on her bicycle and pedaled home. Kristen knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. When her parents opened it, she said, "Would you like to see your new baby?" Kristen's mother lifted up the bottom of the blanket and said, "Look, people legs." She lifted up the middle of the blanket and said, "Look, people hands." She lifted up the top of the blanket and said, "Look, a people face." Kristen's mother picked up the baby and gave it a big hug. Her father took the baby and gave it a big hug. And her mother said, "Kristen, Kristen, you got the baby back. Good for you." "But what are we going to do with all these other babies?" yelled Kristen's father. "There's a seal baby in the bathtub, an alligator baby in the fish tank, and a gorilla baby hanging from the chandelier. We should take them back to the zoo." But Kristen looked out the window and said, "I don't think we will have to do anything at all." And everything was okay until Kristen's mother had twins. The end. What a silly story. But Kristen finally found her baby brother, and he was at the zoo. Wouldn't it be funny if animals went to the zoo? We could sing a song about that. Just wait, I have to get ready. All right, I am ready now. I put on my hat and my jacket, and I have my binoculars. I'm ready to go to the zoo. Let's invite some animals to go to the zoo with us too. Let's see if the animals want to go to the zoo with us. We'll start with the hippo. Now the hippo will have to get ready too with his hat and his jacket on. So we'll have to pretend that the hippo is getting ready to go to the zoo. Are you ready to sing a song with me? It goes like this. Hippo, hippo, it's a lovely day. Hippo, hippo, let's go to the zoo. Put your hat and jacket on and tell your mom you won't be long, 'cause a monkey's waiting round the corner. Monkey, monkey, it's a lovely day. Monkey, monkey, let's go to the zoo. Put your hat and jacket on and tell your mom you won't be long, because an elephant is waiting round the corner. Elephant, elephant, it's a lovely day. Elephant, elephant, let's go to the zoo. Put your hat and jacket on and tell your mom you won't be long, because a penguin is waiting round the corner. She's already got her earmuffs and her scarf on. Penguin, penguin, it's a lovely day. Penguin, penguin, let's go to the zoo. Put your hat and jacket on and tell your mom you won't be long, because a walrus is waiting round the corner. Walrus, walrus, it's a lovely day. Walrus, walrus, let's go to the zoo. Put your hat and jacket on and tell your mom you won't be long, because we're all going to the zoo. Well, here we are at the zoo, boys and girls. Listen, can you hear the animals? There are so many animals at the zoo. I brought my binoculars, and I'm going to see what I can see in the zoo. I'll tell you what I see, but I'm not going to tell you the name of the animal. I want you to guess. Oh, wow. I see an animal that is sort of yellowish brown. It's very big, and it has a mane all around its face. Can you guess what it is? You're right. It's a lion. I see another animal. Oh, I hope it doesn't get too close to the lion. Sort of like a deer, but it's an animal that lives in Africa, and it rhymes with cantaloupe. Can you guess what it is? It's an antelope. Let's see what else I can see. Oh, wow. It's so big, and it's gray, and it has a long trunk. Can you guess what it is? You're right. It's an elephant. Oh, I see an animal way out there. Let me look. It's black and white. It looks a little bit like a horse. But it's not a horse. It has stripes. Can you guess what it is? It's a zebra. Let's see if we can find one more animal. I'm going to look up, up, up. Wow, that animal has a very long neck. It's kind of orange and brownish. It has a beautiful pattern. It's eating leaves from the tallest tree. Can you guess what it is? It's a giraffe. Great job guessing, boys and girls. Well, that was a fun field trip. Did you enjoy going to the zoo with me? I really had fun looking at all of those different types of animals. Well, there should be one more book in our story bag, and I bet it's about animals too. Let's see. The Greedy Python. The Greedy Python by Richard Buckley and Eric Carle. Half hidden in the jungle green, the biggest snake there's ever been, wound back and forth and in between. The giant snake was very strong and very, very, very long. He had a monstrous appetite, his stomach stretched from left to right. He quickly gobbled in one bite whatever creature came in sight, a mouse that scampered to and fro, a frog that jumped up from below, a bat that hung from its left toe, a fish that swam a bit too slow, a bird that flew a bit too low, a porcupine still half asleep, a monkey who was in mid-leap, a leopard sitting in a tree, a buffalo who came to see, an elephant complete with trunk was swallowed in a single chunk. I'm far too big to eat, he cried. Oh, no, you're not, the snake replied. At last the python's meal was done, and he lay resting in the sun. The animals inside his skin were making quite a dreadful din. And when they all began to kick, the snake began to feel quite sick. He coughed the whole lot up again, each one of them, and there were 10. He soon felt better, and what's more, was hungrier than just before. He hadn't learned a single thing. His greed was quite astonishing. He saw his own tail long and curved, and thought that lunch was being served. He closed his jaws on his own rear, then swallowed hard and disappeared. The end. Well, that was a bit of a surprise ending. I didn't know that's what was going to happen. There sure were a lot of animals in that book. This must be a very special day because I think there's one more book in the story bag. Let's see. It's called I Can Draw Animals. This is a drawing book. It's called I Can Draw Animals. And it's by Ray Gibson, designed by Amanda Barlow, edited by Jenny Tyler, illustrated by Amanda Barlow, and photography by Howard Allman. That's a lot of people who worked on this book. So I thought we could draw a monkey. And if you look here, it's the table of contents, and right here it says a monkey is on page 20. So let's look. That's page 15, 18. Here's page 20, a monkey. And it shows us step by step how to draw a monkey. I have some really big paper, and I have a marker too. You don't need really big paper, but if you have some paper and a crayon or a pencil, you can go get them. It's okay to pause the video because we'll wait for you. And when you get back, we can draw together. So step 1 says draw the head. So that's just a circle. Let's see if I can draw a circle. There we go. Then it says add the body and a curly tail. So the body is another circle, kind of like the beginning of a snowman, I guess. and a curly tail. We'll make the tail come down and curl around. That's a little bit tricky. Now it says add the muzzle and 2 ears. So the muzzle is where the animal's nose and mouth are. So it's like a half circle on the head. And then the ears are 2 half circles. And then 2 little half circles inside. Those look like monkey ears. Now it says put in the eyes, nose, and mouth. So here is the mouth. And the nose is just 2 little dots. And then the eyes are 2 more little dots. I'm thinking my ears aren't big enough. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. See, he looks a little too much like a bear, not enough like a monkey, I think. Now, he doesn't have any arms, and monkeys need arms to swing from the trees. So the next says, do the arms and the legs. And so the arms are just like this. 2 long arms. And 2 long legs. Then it says add hands and feet and fill in with a felt pen. A felt pen is another word for a marker. So we're going to put some hands. Monkeys have hands almost like people hands. And their feet sort of look like hands too. It's almost like they have fingers on their feet. That's why they're so good at climbing. Well, there's my monkey. I'm going to leave it like this, but you could color yours in with a crayon or with a marker if you like. And that's our monkey. Well, that's everything for today, boys and girls. Do you remember what we did today? We read Alligator Baby and helped Kristen find her baby brother at the zoo. Then we invited some friends to go to the zoo with us. And when we were there, we used binoculars to guess different types of animals. After that, we read The Greedy Python. Do you remember how it ended? Then there was another book in the story bag, wasn't there? About drawing, and we learned how to draw a monkey. Well, I had fun going to the zoo with you today, boys and girls. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.